Well, protesting policy or a political stunt, however you see it, Newark's mayor, Ras Baraka, says he doesn't trust Trump and doesn't approve of how he's handling illegal immigration. So after he showed up at a detention center, unannounced, with members of Congress by his side, he was arrested and charged with trespassing. Today, 4 days later, Mayor Baraka tried to return to tour the facility he says is breaking city and state law. He was denied entry again. In body cam footage obtained by ABC News, you can actually see the moment that Baraka was seized by ICE officers, and it was a bit chaotic. But U.S. Attorney Alina Habba wrote on X, that's the mayor ignoring multiple warnings from Homeland Security and willingly choosing to disregard the law. Baraka, who is also a Democratic candidate for governor, has pled not guilty to all the charges. Ras Baraka, the mayor of Newark, joins me now. Mayor, glad you could be with me. First, I want you to, of course, address the critics that say this was just a publicity stunt to help boost your run for governor. Your response?
I went there for a press conference. Unless Alina Habba and Donald Trump is on my campaign committee, then I don't understand how it was a political stunt. I went down there for a campaign, a press conference with the congressional delegation. They allowed me entry into the property, and then Homeland Security, after an hour and a half of me standing there, said that they wanted me to leave the property. I, in fact, left the property. If you watch a video, you can see I left the property. Then they came outside of the property and arrested me outside the property on the public side. On property, in fact, that's private property and not federal property at all. So being arrested for federal trespass is just incorrect on its face.
So it is clearly it's run by a private operator, Geo Group.
It's owned by Geo Group.
It is owned by them. So where did federal funds come from? Just kind of set the record straight. Who paid for this? Okay.
Well, they have a contract. Geo paid for the entire thing. They have a contract to house detainees, just like the El Salvadorian prison camp has a contract with the government to house detainees. They have a contract here domestically to house detainees, but they don't own the property or the building. There are no federal employees that work in there at all. They have detainees there. Our contention is with Geo, not with ICE, with following local laws and local rules and procedures that they refuse to follow. ICE got themselves engaged and involved in that politically. And when the Congress people went to tour the place, instead of giving them a tour, they targeted and attacked me. I was the only one arrested. As you can see, there are multiple people that were on the property. I was the only one arrested because they targeted me.
So you feel you were targeted. So you're saying you went on to private property and there wasn't a problem, that the Geo Group was okay with you coming on to grounds, but that ICE decided to step in and arrest you and take you off the premises. Is that what you're telling me?
That's what happened. I mean, they allowed me on the property. Yeah.
Okay. So you say the detention facility is not following city and state laws. Tell me what laws you believe they're breaking.
They don't have a proper certificate of occupancy in our mind. They haven't had one for almost 20 years. City law says they have to have it every year updated. And it's a point of contention. Our inspectors are not allowed in a property, fire inspectors, health inspectors, and they have a right to go in there. And that's a point of contention. They have the right to say they disagree with us. But guess who settles that? A court. A court determines who's right and who's wrong. And we're in the process of we're in court now. Like ICE doesn't decide this. The Homeland Security doesn't decide this. A judge does in court. That's how democracy works. That's how it's set up in the United States purposefully. And that's why people come from around the world to be a part of this democracy, the greatest idea in the world, because we have courts and due process.
So, Mayor, let me ask you, because DHS does say it has all proper permits and has completed all proper inspections.
Well, the DHS are not responsible for inspections or permits anyway. Geo is responsible for permits and inspections. And I don't know how DHS would know any of these things what they don't know is we went and did a preliminary inspection because the court told us to and found a few violations that we have the right to go in and check to see if they, in fact, mitigated those violations or corrected them. They still don't have a certificate of occupancy. We're in contention about a certificate of occupancy. We're gonna continue to engage with them because to me, we can't allow one group to say they don't need to follow the city's rules and everybody else. It sets this kind of negative precedent. And we have a right, our inspectors have a right to go into that property, and they should be allowed to.
So we were told that if you asked for a tour, that they would grant you a tour, but that you showed up unannounced. Are you going to ask officially for a tour?
We've been there every day. They've given us emails. We've emailed the people that they told us to, and we haven't been getting anything. And we don't want a tour. I don't want a tour. I didn't come there to get a tour. This is not Disneyland. It is for the inspectors to come there and make sure they have the violations corrected, that the health and safety conditions are okay, that the number of beds that they say are there are actually there, and that they apply for a certificate of occupancy. Like any business, you can't even go in your home without a certificate of occupancy. I don't understand why this is rocket science to people when they understand that in a building, you need a certificate of occupancy. That's just clear. And if you change the use, you have to get permission from the city to change the use of the building. I mean, what we're saying is not like bizarre or strange. This is what has to happen normally, but these people don't follow normal procedures.
Democrats are clearly desperate for their elected officials to stand up to Trump. Is getting arrested the right way to do this? Just showing up every day like this, the right way to go?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're in a moral moment. And I'm going to reiterate this, that I didn't go there to get arrested. I went there to be a part of a press conference. I want to say that over and over again because people keep saying that I went there to get arrested, which is not true. But this is a moral moment. It's like Jim Crow, when leaders from all faiths, elected officials, community activists, decided to put themselves in harm's way to get rid of a system dangerous, that was unequal, that treated people inhumane. And this is the moral moment that we're in today. We can choose to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist, or do something about it, clearly. I mean, when any other folks came to this country, when they treated Irish the wrong way, people watched it, right? When they treated Italians and criminalized them, people watched it, right? When things were happening in this country to immigrants, a lot of people watched it. But today, as people are being kidnapped off the street, it's time for us to do something different, right? When the Constitution is being eroded and democracy being challenged and courts being ignored, we can either sit by and act like everything is cool, or we can do something different. And that's what we should do. And I wouldn't blame anybody if they protested, because they have the right to protest. That's what America gives us the right to do under the Bill of Rights. We have the right to redress our grievances. But I didn't go down there to protest. I went down there to be a part of a press conference. And if I was a part of a protest, that's my right as a citizen of the state of New Jersey and as a citizen of the United States of America.
Well, Mayor, do let us know if you are granted access inside the detention facility. We'd like to hear what you saw and how the conversations went. Mayor Ras Baraka, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.